Alright, so the Money in the Bank 2013 pay-per-view is in the books, and one thing you can say about this pay-per-view, or just this pay-per-view in general, is that you normally get at least one or two great matches out of it, especially a couple years ago. You probably had the match of the year in wrestling with CM Punk against John Cena in that match where he won the WWE title and took off in the night with it. Well, at least for 8 days, but I digress from there. I wasn't really knowing what to expect out of these two Money in the Bank matches. There's a lot of different ways they could have gone with it. Especially the one for the World Heavyweight Championship. There's like three guys I thought had a good shot at it, or that had probably a better shot than any of the other ones. Like I thought Cody Rhodes had a good shot. I thought Review-Sandow would have a good shot at it, and I was thinking maybe even a Wade Barrett, who was supposed to win he was supposed to win it last year until he got hurt. But anyway, let's get started on the review now, shall we? Now, it's not too surprising that the opening contest on the card was the Money in the Bank briefcase for the World Heavyweight Championship contract. You had people like Fandango, you had Rhodes, you had Review-Sandow, you had Swagger, Cesaro, Ambrose, and Barrett. Zeb Coulter comes out there with Cesaro and Swagger cutting a promo about this and that, just his usual spiel. But what was kind of funny is that there's a lot of people in the crowd that chanted, "We the people." But then again, of course, it is Philly, so you'll get those smart mark crowds, It's kind of like New York, New Jersey, or like in Chicago, or maybe even like a St. Louis or something like that. But as far as some of the good spots in this match, Ambrose pulled a Terry Funk where he has the ladder on his shoulders and he's swinging it around and nailing people with it. And then Swagger and Cesaro, they picked him up while he still had the ladder. And he ended up skinning a cat on the ladder. I thought that was pretty impressive. But then he got dropped onto the floor. But man, Cody Rhodes got a lot of cheers tonight. I don't know if it was just the Philly crowd or what, but I'll tell you what. This was towards the end of the match. The Shield came out to interfere as Cody was about to climb the ladder, and they were out to try to help Ambrose win. But there's another good spot in this where Swagger and Cesaro were trying to go for the briefcase. Swagger climbs up he's up on Cesaro's shoulders and trying to reach the Money in the Bank briefcase that way. That was pretty good too. But it looked like for all the world that Cody was going to get the briefcase, but then his tag team partner Sandow comes in from the outside. He pushes him off the ladder, and the winner of the match and the Money in the Bank briefcase winner is Review-Sandow. And you know what? This makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. And I'm going to tell you why it does. Because as much jobbing as Sandow's been doing the last few months, this makes perfect sense. This is what the Money in the Bank briefcase winners are made of. They'll job for a while, then they put the Money in the Bank briefcase on them. Either Sandow's they're gonna start making him look strong, or they're gonna do what they did with Dolph Ziggler and just job him out some more until he cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase, whenever that is. But I think first of all, what you're gonna get is you're gonna get the long-awaited feud between Sandow and Rhodes. I think tonight was the beginning of Rhodes' face turn. Especially the amount of cheers he got tonight. So I'm really interested to see where they go with this feud, and with Sandow now holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, you're gonna get some nice epic promos. You're welcome. Oh, another highlight of this show was Brad Maddox, the Raw GM, and he comes out there that you would have thought maybe this should have been left for a segment on Monday Night Raw, but nuh-uh. Brad Maddox deserves to be on pay-per-view, baby, and he makes us kind of a mocking video for Vicky Guerrero and some of her unflattering moments, but you know what? You know, if you're really trying to make Vicky into somewhat of a sympathetic character, don't think it's working, because if you watch SmackDown on Friday night, she probably got booed more than I've ever seen her get booed. And God, I mean, people just hate Vicky Guerrero. How in the world Vicky Guerrero has not been the most hated wrestler, and I don't know how she hasn't won the PWI award for most hated wrestler. I mean, granted, she's not a wrestler, but still, she, for probably about the last 3 or 4 years, she's been the most hated person in wrestling. God. Alright, then you had your IC title match between Curtis Axel and The Miz. There's a kind of a good spot early in this match where Miz kind of pulls on Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, you didn't have a chair. He didn't hit the floor and lay with a chair or anything, but he slaps his hands together and made it look like Paul Heyman nailed him on the outside. So Heyman gets sent to the back and without having done anything wrong. And this wasn't really a bad match. It really wasn't, but Axel ended up retaining after he got out of the figure 4 and then he nailed him with his finisher, whatever it is now. I don't know if there's really a name for it, but I thought Axel's finisher was the perfect flex, but evidently it can't be a finisher because people keep kicking out of it. And another thing about The Miz is there a more hated fan favorite in wrestling today besides Cena? I mean, really? Alright, one more time with feeling. For the Divas title, it's AJ Lee along with Biggie Langston against Caitlyn with Layla in her corner. They really wanted you to think that this match is a really big deal, because on SmackDown Friday night, they had a contract signing for a Divas title match. When was the last time you saw that? I mean, seriously. They're really giving you the hard sell and trying to make you think that, oh God, this is a big match. This is something I really need to watch. Well, I can only hope that this is over. Hopefully this feud is over now, because AJ wins again by tap out. So maybe Layla will be the next challenger. Either that, or maybe they'll finally put the Layla heel turn back in action. It was supposed to happen a few months ago, but they kind of laid off on it, so maybe they're going to go back to that now. Who knows? And another match I didn't really care about. Probably because the WWE didn't really give me a reason to give 2 shits about this match. Ryback against Y2J Chris Jericho. God. It's not to say this is a bad match at all, because it really wasn't. Jericho could probably have a nice match with a broomstick. Seriously. But I didn't really care about this match, and Ryback actually ended up winning with a roll-up of all things. Really? I'm not surprised that Ryback won. It's just he didn't even win with his finisher. He ended up having to win with a roll-up. That's what's more surprising to me, over the fact that Ryback actually won the match, because I expected it, but he won with a roll-up. Alright, once again for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's Alberto Del Rio defending now against Dolph Ziggler. And again, this was it was a good match between the two. These two do have chemistry together, and to me, I was talking to Metal D when we were watching the pay-per-view tonight, and we were talking about how he's become a much better storyteller in the last few months, and I think that he has. But no, match went on, probably maybe what, about 15 minutes or so, but AJ ends up coming out there, and she's kind of skipping around the ring like she does, like the crazy self that she is, and she ends up getting Ziggler disqualified after it looked like she was maybe trying to help him, but Ziggler was going for the zigzag and trying to regain the title, and AJ nails Del Rio in the head with the Divas title, and he gets disqualified, and this was a shitty finish. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna get this again at SummerSlam? And they're kind of, I know looks like they're now trying to put the breakup in motion between Ziggler and AJ. So I'm guessing we're gonna have the big blow off at SummerSlam probably. So Ziggler's heel turn, or excuse me, his face turn will finally be complete. Alright, oh jeez. Don't really want to talk about this, but since this is part of the card, I guess I kind of have to. WWE title match between the champion John Cena against Mark Henry. You know, I was kind of hoping against hope that maybe just maybe Vince could throw me a bone here and perhaps maybe have Mark Henry win the title and maybe just hold it for a couple months or so, be a transitional champion. But oh, Vince, you just couldn't do that for me, could you? Now, could you? From the Department of Redundancy Department. Henry did have a lot. He had control of this match for probably about 3/4 of it. But then Super Cena rears its ugly head one more time. I mean, God, he freaking kicks out of the world's longest slam. And when Henry went for it again, he ends up going over him. And it's not so much that Cena won this match, as that he won it by tap out. They made Mark Henry look like a bitch in having him tap out. It wasn't enough that Henry didn't get pinned. He was made to submit. It's like, really, guys? And it's probably the worst STF I've seen since Eric Watts back in 1992. It's like, God. It's like, oh, Jesus. And people wonder why Cena gets the shit boot out of him all the damn time. I mean, not just people, but it's just like, oh, Jesus. I'm just at a loss. Alright, then, surprisingly, the main event was the Money in the Bank contest for the WWE Championship contract. I'm surprised this wasn't like the match before, which was actually Cena defending against Mark Henry. I'm surprised that wasn't the main event. As much as they like to fucking push Cena up your ass and down your throat and every which fucking way but lose. But as far as this match goes, I didn't think it was as good as the match for the World Heavyweight Championship, even though he had the return of Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam, which is pretty good. And which got boos right off the bat was the other 5 guys on the match all attacked RVD, and they never did come up with a replacement for Kane after he got attacked by the Wyatt family on last Monday Night Raw. But I thought it was funny that Christian had one of those little hornswoggle ladders it's about a 2-3 foot ladder. I thought that was pretty good, but there's a nice spot where you had 6 guys on 2 ladders, all reaching for the briefcase, and they all fall off. That was a pretty good spot there. RVD ends up hitting a barely 5-star frog splash. I don't even think it was a 5-star. Probably more like about a 3 off the top of a big ladder onto Christian. I mean, it was nice. It would have been better if he could have gotten more extension out of it, but Sheamus had a nasty fall through a ladder. If he had been Sin Cara, he probably would have gotten carted out of there on a stretcher, like what happened to him a couple of years ago. But I think we got another feud that's coming out of this. Curtis Axel came down towards the end of the match and attacks Daniel Bryan, nailed him with a chair, and then he ended up nailing him with his finisher. I don't know if I can't see that being like a SummerSlam match or anything. Probably on Raw tomorrow night or some shit like that, but then right after that, Punk ended up hitting Curtis Axel with the GTS and knocked him out. So Heyman comes running out there and he's basically berating Curtis Axel because he thought he was going after CM Punk, and so Punk leaps. He kind of limps into the ring. He was kind of hurting, so he's trying to climb up the ladder. Heyman was egging him on. He was cheering him on. Then finally he gets into the ring and he's got another ladder, and well, he had to know this was going to happen. Heyman nails Punk from climbing the ladder twice, and what I thought was really good where Punk's looking back after him after he nails him twice. He's just kind of got that look on him. Then Heyman does it one more time, and looks like Punk was busted open hard way, so he's knocked out of there. So then RVD coming back in the ring. He's trying to climb back up the ladder. Orton's coming in behind him, pulls him down off the ladder and nails him with the RKO out of midair. And so Orton climbing up the ladder, sees nobody in sight. So, and your Money in the Bank briefcase winner is Randall Keith Orton. And Chase Oliver, I'm sure you were probably jizzing in your pants when you saw that now, weren't you? I'm sure you were. Oh, final thoughts on this pay-per-view. I thought it was a pretty decent one. I mean, I didn't think the AJ Caitlyn match was great at all. But as far as the two Money in the Bank matches, I thought the one for the World Heavyweight Championship one was better than the other one, considering when you consider the people that were in them. But I'm really interested to see what Damien Sandow does with his briefcase, and I think it's gonna be a really interesting feud with him and Cody Rhodes. And then Orton with the briefcase. I think he needed to win it more than probably about anybody else in the match. Daniel Bryan does not need the Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, he's over as fuck. And I mean, yeah, what we're gonna end up seeing is it's probably gonna be like, oh, maybe what like 2009 all over again when you saw Cena against Randy Orton for there was about 5,000 matches between the two, it seemed. And then Curtis Axel retaining against The Miz, that was pretty expected. And I did not watch the pregame match between the Shield and the Usos, but from all accounts, that sounded like that was a pretty good match as well. But you can only hope that now that Orton has the Money in the Bank briefcase, that a heel turn is coming, hopefully soon, because he's been wanting this for a long time. I think this is finally going to be the way to do it. I am Marvelous Mark, and I am gone for now. Leave me your comments down below, and you subscribe up above if you haven't already. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye-bye.